The California Assembly GOP leader, Kristin Olsen, went on a radio show last week to discuss various political issues, and she pondered the idea of restricting voting rights.
Hey, a little more about voting. Because I was thinking about, we keep making it easier and easier to vote, and yet people keep not voting. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem like making it easier is working. So I got to thinking about, you can't really make it tougher because of voting rights laws, but it seems like people don't appreciate voting. They don't think that it's...
Almost take it for granted.
Yeah, I almost think like if it was tougher, maybe they would want... If you can't vote, you really want to vote.
You know, that's a really interesting thought. I've never thought about it that way. But you're right. It's just like anything in life. If there's something you can't have, you want it even more. So maybe it's, counterintuitive to what the legislative Democrats have been promoting. But maybe we do need to make it harder, and that in and of itself would increase participation.
Yeah, it's like a teenage relationship. Play hard to get. Now, is there a grain of truth in that? Is it true that, when you can't vote, you want to vote more? Maybe, but take that line of thinking to its logical conclusion. In a fascist dictatorship, there's zero voting. And I bet people would really want to vote then. So, should we implement that kind of government? Just to up the feeling within people that they should want to vote? Okay, let's take away your rights, and then you'll really want it. Mission accomplished. But that's not mission accomplished. If you're really concerned about low voter turnout, which they're not, there's an easy solution. Mandatory voting. That's it. And this is something a lot of people in the U.S. view it as this crazy, absurd, radical idea. Is it really? Because there are a lot of nations that already do that. And the idea is kind of similar to the idea of, like, jury duty, for example. In America, you have to do jury duty every once in a while. Just, it is what it is. Can't get out of it. You have to pay taxes. Certain things you have to do. So why, would voting be so absurd given the context of that? Again, but that's only if they really want to attack the problem. But they're not really concerned. Because they know full well the more people vote, the more likely the election is to go Democratic. So this is a trick. This is a trick that they're doing here. We care so much about voter turnout that I think what we should do is take away voting rights in order to increase turnout. Knowing damn well that when they crack down on the ability to vote, people are going to vote less. That's what's going to happen. So it's totally disingenuous. And understand, man, we know from previous stories that we've done where it's not even like just a theory anymore. It's not an opinion anymore. There are Republican lawmakers who have admitted when they didn't know the cameras were running or they slipped up, they've said, yeah, with this new voter ID law, we have a much better chance of winning. We can restrict the minority vote. Oh, God, they're fundamentally anti-democratic. Why? Because they care so much about power and they care so much about winning that they know the fewer people vote, the more likely we are to win, so we have to, by any means necessary, restrict the number of people that vote. Now, in a rational society, they could just say, let me come up with better policies to get people to vote for me because I have better ideas. But they would never even consider that because we have legalized bribery in America and we have legalized corruption where the politicians only listen to the business interests. So they're never going to turn their back on the business interests in order to try to get more votes because then they lose the money. So they can't get their message out there as much. So instead, now they're married to the idea, restrict voting rights. And then as you can see here, they go out on radio shows and say, no, we want to restrict voting rights because that means more people will vote. Are you guys buying this? No, they're not. Sorry.